and welcome back to the third part of Learning from Leaders. Your host, Patrick Dewar, and my guest today is Terry Painter, ApartmentLoanStore.com. He's the founder of that and has funded millions and millions of dollars of loans for apartments. So today's show is a little bit specialized. In fact, it's very specialized. We're really talking to one group of people, the people that really need $1 million or more in loans for larger end projects. Because Terry, in everything that he's about, it's working with the high-end client to get them where they want to go. I know you'll enjoy today's show. We're going to talk today on this part about what are the keys to getting yourself qualified for that type of loan. Terry, thanks for being on the show.
Great, Patrick. Actually, as I did mention, in this day and age, in this economy that we're in, the borrower is equally as important as the quality of the property and the income of the property. The main reason why we're focusing, the Business Loan Store chose to focus on apartment loans is because we're closing just about all of our apartment loans. And we used to specialize for years in every type of commercial lending. It's really important that you basically know how much cash you have to invest. It's not like it's okay that my father-in-law might lend me $200,000 because if you get on his bad side, you never know if that's going to come through. We're actually going to pre-qualify you and make sure that you are going to qualify for the loan that you want. And the first thing we look at is you the borrower. We take a look at your credit score. It should be 680 or above. You do need to have at least the down payment plus closing costs. However, we do have a loan where we could finance the closing costs as well. You're going to need to actually have some experience in owning multi-units, I would say, and preferably multifamily, which would be 5 units or more on one tax lot. It's considered multifamily.
Right.
And we're also going to take a look at the quality of the property. We're going to take a look at, is this property falling down? Does it need a lot of work? If so, if it does need some rehab, how are we going to finance that? Do we need to include that in the loan? If it's a refinance, we cannot do loans on properties that are falling apart. If there's some work that needs to be done, let's include that in with the loan. Right. Okay. And then we're going to look at the cash flow, which was always king. It was always the most important part of an asset-based lending situation. And so the third part, when you call us, we would like to get some idea of what the net operating income is, which is the gross rents minus the expenses.
Right.
And we'd like to know how the property is cash flowing. We're also going to be looking at the historical history of the cash flow. Lenders today do not want to do a loan on a property where they just threw a bunch of tenants in to get the income up so they could get a loan or so they could sell the property. We want to make sure we want to do loans on more stable properties for the most part. So the history of the property is important as well.
So getting qualified is a much more tedious adventure than a few years ago.
Right, and it's actually for a commercial property, of course, it's much more detailed than it is to get a residential loan on your house.
So what are, I guess, in the loans that you're doing right now, what are you seeing that is that's easier to finance?
Yeah, that's a good question. And right now, actually, even during this economy, we currently have $44 million in loans that we're working on that are in our pipeline. And we're actually doing a lot of FHA loans right now because the requirements for the borrower are not as strong. You go to a bank today, they're going to want you to have probably a net worth equal to probably at least twice the size of the loan, have at least 20% of that loan in cash. In other words, you're almost going to not even need a loan, if you could meet their requirements. And what I would say our standard loan, apartment loan, requires about 6 months in cash plus a down payment and that 680 credit score that we talked about. So that's really actually fairly minimal to require for that. But we also have an FHA loan that does not require that much strength in the borrower. It does require some experience, and it does require being able to put a deal together that's done very intelligently.
Right. So deal making is really all about not just knowing. You really have to know your stuff. You have to know where your borrower is at, what kind of project they're really trying to do, if that deal is even fundable by itself.
Right.
And then and then you're bringing all of this together to make sure that your lender is having a good marriage, so to speak.
Oh, exactly. This is the absolutely wrong time to try to play roulette with your loan. It's like, if you call us, we're basically going to just get right down to the bottom line. We're going to let you know what can be done, what cannot be done. We know our underwriting very thoroughly. And on apartments, it doesn't change every 2 weeks like it does in a lot of, that's why we're choosing to do apartments right now. And so call us and, we will let you know what we can lend you and whether you qualify or not for what you want to do.
So you want them to go to the 866 number, 811-9515, or the apartmentloanstore.com. And there's a form there, right, that
Yes.
they get started with?
Yes. Yes, there's a form where if they feel comfortable talking to one of our loan specialists,
Right.
just give us a call.
That's great. So in wrapping this up, what do you see the future of loans being? When we look forward, I've seen a tremendous contraction. I'm really concerned. What are some of the things that you see as far as being able to get loans for multifamily dwellings? Is it going to continue to be tough, or what?
In my opinion, and this is just my opinion, I do think that we're not at the top of the hill yet. I think we haven't reached the bottom yet. I think we're going to be looking at some rougher times to continue. The banks are still not freeing up that much money, and it's just the most important thing is that you've got to pull your team together. If you don't have the strength to buy the property you want, you could probably find somebody that you could partner with and get there.
So it's real key right now to have a specialist like you working with them in making sure that those things are taken care of.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially, whether you're refinancing a property or buying a new property, in this economy, it's a very technical process to actually find the right loan, find the right lender, know that you qualify, and that the property qualifies. And
Right.
That's what we're here to do. We're very good at what we do in that way. We have a very high rate of success. The main reason why we do have an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau is because of our success rate with our clients.
It's the old adage, give people what they want and you'll get what you want, which is amazing. Mm-hmm. One of the things that I'm really thankful for is that, Terry is really come out here to show the keys to getting a higher value loan. It's a little different proposition than it used to be. A few years ago, it was kind of easy, I think. There was a lot of liquidity in the marketplace, but that's why, as Terry said a little earlier, I think it was, how many banks have gone on?
Well, over 70, yeah. Yes, and we used to have stated income loans for business and for commercial properties. We don't have those anymore. It's as far as qualifying, those borrowers who were able to really leverage, really put very little down, maybe 10%, we do have one loan that does go up to 85% financing on apartments. And it's a great product.
But that's still, at 15%, having to come up with that, on $1 million, that's.
But at most banks today, you'd probably have to put at least 30% down to get a loan.
I had heard that recently with even some things like franchises, that it was even higher than that. It was like 40% of the revenue or money that was needed. You actually had to have. So the liquidity out there is drying up. You need someone like Terry Painter to really give you the solutions to your financial issue. I want to thank you guys for being on the show today, for listening to the show and watching us today. I know that as we move forward with learning from leaders, you're going to have some really great guests coming up that are going to help you, give you the keys to getting where you want to go in your business, because learning from leaders is all about best practices and giving you what you want so that you can get what you want to do. Thanks so much. We'll talk to you next week.